Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Echo Pod. I'm Lily, and I'm super excited to be here with you all today.
And I'm Kevin. It's great to be back, Lily. We've talked about so many personal topics lately, from our daily routines and special objects to our best friends. Today, we're going to explore something that's always with us, no matter where we go, the sounds that fill our ears and minds.
That's right, Kevin. Today, we're diving into the world of music and podcasts, asking the big question, what's on your playlist? This is a fantastic topic for English learners because it lets you talk about your favorite genres, artists, how music makes you feel, and even your listening habits. Plus, you might discover some new tunes or podcasts to check out.
Absolutely. Music is a universal language, and podcasts are like having a conversation with fascinating people. Both are amazing for English listening practice. And before we hit play on our discussions, we have a quick request for all of you wonderful listeners out there.
Yes, please. If you enjoy our podcast and find it helpful for your English learning, please take a moment to subscribe to English Echo Pod. It helps us a lot. And don't forget to share this episode with your friends who are also learning English. Sharing helps us reach more people and grow our community.
And of course, give us a big like. It really helps us know that you're enjoying what we do. So, subscribe, share, and like. Thank you so much.
All right, Kevin, let's start with you today. When it comes to music, what's currently dominating your playlist? Are you into specific genres or do you have a broad taste?
That's a good starting point, Lily. My music taste tends to be a bit more focused than diverse. Right now, my playlist is heavily dominated by indie rock and alternative folk. I really appreciate artists who write their own deep, meaningful lyrics and create intricate melodies. I'm less into mainstream pop. I prefer something that makes me think and feel. Bands like The National and Bon Iver are constantly on rotation. Their music often creates a certain atmosphere, almost like a soundtrack to my thoughts.
Oh, I can totally see that. Indie rock and alternative folk definitely have that contemplative vibe. What is it about those genres that resonates with you so much? Is it the instrumentation, the lyrical content, or the overall mood?
It's absolutely a combination of all three. The instrumentation in indie rock often feels raw and authentic, using a lot of real instruments, which I appreciate. Alternative folk, with its acoustic guitars and sometimes haunting vocals, creates a very intimate sound. But the lyrics are truly paramount for me. I love listening to artists who are essentially poets, telling stories or exploring complex emotions and philosophical ideas. It's like reading a good book, but set to music. The mood created is often melancholic but also hopeful, which I find very beautiful and relatable. It's music that doesn't demand your attention with flashy beats, but rather invites you into its world.
That's a beautiful way to describe it. It sounds like you use music for reflection and deeper connection. Do you have a specific song from your current playlist that you would recommend to our listeners and why?
Yes, definitely. I'd recommend I Need My Girl by The National. It's a song that, on the surface, sounds like a simple love song, but the lyrics are layered with complexity and a sense of longing that I find incredibly poignant. The baritone voice of the lead singer, Matt Berninger, is so distinctive and evocative. It's the kind of song that makes you want to just sit, listen, and think. It's also relatively slow-paced, so it's good for learners to catch the words.
That's a great recommendation. Thank you. Now, let's talk about podcasts, Kevin. Given your thoughtful nature, I imagine you listen to a lot of educational or deep dive content. What podcasts are you currently hooked on?
You're spot on, Lily. My podcast queue is almost exclusively filled with educational and narrative nonfiction shows. My absolute favorite right now is Stuff You Should Know. It's a fantastic podcast where the two hosts, Josh Clark and Chuck Bryant, pick a random topic, anything from how electricity works to the history of pizza, and then they just dive deep into it. They research extensively and then explain everything in a very engaging, accessible, and often humorous way. I've learned so much about an incredible variety of subjects through them.
Oh, I've heard of that one. It sounds like a perfect fit for someone who loves to learn. What is it about Stuff You Should Know specifically that you find so captivating? Is it the hosts, the topics, or the way they present information?
It's definitely a blend of all three. The hosts, Josh and Chuck, have amazing chemistry. They're genuinely curious, and they have a very relaxed, conversational style that makes even complex topics feel easy to digest. They also have a great sense of humor, often making witty asides and jokes that keep it entertaining. The topics are endlessly diverse. You never know what you're going to learn about next. They cover everything from the most mundane things, like the history of daylight saving time, to the most fascinating, like the science of dreams or the mysteries of the deep sea. The way they present information is key. They break down complicated ideas into understandable segments, often relating them back to everyday life. It's like having a very knowledgeable, funny friend explain something to you.
That's a great way to learn new vocabulary and improve listening comprehension, too, since they speak clearly. How often do you listen to podcasts, and when do you usually fit them into your day?
I try to listen to podcasts almost every day. They're my go-to for my morning commute on the bus. It's about a 30-minute ride, which is perfect for one full episode. I also listen when I'm doing chores around the house, like cleaning or doing laundry. Sometimes, if I'm having trouble sleeping, I'll even put on a very calm, deep-voiced podcast at a low volume. It's a great way to make otherwise mundane activities feel productive or relaxing. It truly maximizes my time.
That's a smart use of time. Thanks for sharing your music and podcast preferences, Kevin. Now it's my turn. Are you ready to dive into my eclectic world of sounds?
I am so ready, Lily. I expect a very diverse and probably upbeat selection from you. So, what's currently filling your ears and lifting your spirits?
You know me well, Kevin. My music playlist is truly all over the place, but primarily it's a mix of upbeat pop, indie pop, and some classic rock. I love songs that have catchy melodies and a strong rhythm that makes you want to move. I definitely use music to energize myself and lift my mood. Artists like Taylor Swift, Halsey, and bands like Queen are always on my heavy rotation. I love variety.
An eclectic mix indeed. That sounds like a playlist for every mood. What is it about these genres, especially pop and indie pop, that you find so appealing? Is it the energy, the lyrics, or something else?
For me, it's primarily the energy and the beat. I love music that makes me feel happy and want to dance, even if I'm just doing chores around the house. Pop music often has incredibly catchy hooks and sing-along choruses, which are great for boosting your mood. Indie pop often adds a bit more creativity to the sound while still being really accessible. While I appreciate deep lyrics, I often connect more with the overall vibe and how a song makes me feel. I also love that music can evoke specific memories, almost like a time machine. A song from my teenage years can instantly transport me back. For instance, with Taylor Swift, it's her storytelling ability in pop songs that truly captures me. She can create vivid narratives, even in a 3-minute pop track. And Queen? Their music is just pure theatrical genius. Every song is an anthem, full of powerful vocals and iconic guitar riffs. They make me feel like I can conquer anything. I often listen to them when I'm working out or need an extra burst of motivation. They perfectly combine strong melodies with an incredible stage presence, even when just listening to their studio albums.
That's a fantastic range. It sounds like you use music as a direct emotional boost. Do you have a specific song from your current playlist that you would recommend to our listeners? Maybe one that's particularly uplifting?
Yes. I'd recommend Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. It's just pure, unadulterated joy and energy. The lyrics are about living life to the fullest, and the powerful vocals and driving piano make you feel invincible. It's impossible to feel down when that song is playing. It's fantastic for working out or just when you need a pick-me-up. For learners, it's quite fast, but the joy is infectious.
A classic choice. I can certainly see how that would get your energy up. Now, let's switch to podcasts, Lily. What kind of podcasts do you listen to, and what's currently captivating your attention?
My podcast tastes are a bit more varied than my music. I love a good comedy podcast to make me laugh, but I also enjoy storytelling podcasts, especially true crime, and some self-improvement or motivational ones. Right now, I'm really into My Favorite Murder. It's a true crime comedy podcast where the two female hosts, Karen Kilgariff and Georgia Hardstark, talk about famous murder cases, but in a very conversational, often humorous way. It sounds strange, but it's incredibly popular, and they have a massive following.
True crime comedy. That's certainly an unexpected combination, Lily. What is it about My Favorite Murder that you find so engaging, given the dark subject matter?
I know, it sounds contradictory, right? But the hosts make it work. First, they are incredibly charming and relatable. They don't make light of the victims or the tragedy, but they approach the cases with genuine curiosity and empathy, while also using humor to lighten the mood and process the darkness. It's a way of dealing with intense topics. Second, they often share their own personal anxieties and daily lives, which makes you feel like you're just listening to two friends chat about something morbid. It's the personal connection and the way they blend serious topics with relatable human reactions that make it so compelling. Plus, they always end with "Stay sexy, don't get murdered," which is their quirky sign-off. And beyond the true crime aspect, they often discuss broader social issues, mental health, and personal safety, which is surprisingly informative. It's not just about the cases, it's about the conversations those cases spark. For English learners, their conversational style is fantastic because they speak quite naturally, sometimes quickly, but they use a lot of common idioms and expressions. It's a great way to hear natural, authentic spoken English in a casual setting. They also often provide very detailed descriptions of events and people, which helps with vocabulary expansion.
That's a very unique niche. It's interesting how you find comfort and even humor in such heavy topics. How often do you listen to podcasts, and when do you usually tune in?
I try to listen to podcasts every day, especially during my morning routine while I'm getting ready or when I'm walking to work. I also love listening to them when I'm doing something repetitive, like gardening or cleaning the house. Sometimes, if I'm taking a long drive, I'll put on a few episodes in a row. For me, podcasts are a way to feel connected and entertained, even when I'm alone. They're like having a conversation happening in your ear.
It's really clear, Lily, how our approaches to both music and podcasts reflect our personalities. My music taste, with indie rock and alternative folk, is more about reflection and contemplation, almost like an emotional and intellectual backdrop. Your music, with pop and classic rock, is more about energy and mood boosting.
That's a great observation, Kevin. My music is definitely about creating a vibe, whether it's for dancing, working out, or just feeling happy. Your music seems to be more about internal processing and appreciating artistry. We both use music as a form of self-care, but in different ways.
Exactly. And the same goes for podcasts. I gravitate towards educational and fact-driven content like Stuff You Should Know, where I'm actively trying to learn something new and understand complex ideas. Your preference for My Favorite Murder, despite the serious subject, seems to be more about storytelling and connection, perhaps finding comfort or entertainment in the narrative and the host's personalities.
That's spot on. I love learning, but I also enjoy the human connection and the engaging storytelling. My podcasts are more about being entertained and feeling like I'm part of a conversation, whereas yours are more about pure knowledge acquisition. It really shows how diverse the podcast landscape is and how different people use them for different purposes.
It does. And our listening habits also differ slightly. I tend to listen during structured times like commutes or chores, almost as a complement to a routine. You also listen during routines, but it seems to be more about actively making those moments more enjoyable or connecting with something lively.
Yes, I use music and podcasts to enhance my day, to bring energy or a distraction when I need it. You use them more for quiet learning and deeper immersion. But what we both share is that music and podcasts are an integral part of our daily lives. They aren't just background noise. They serve a purpose, whether it's to energize, educate, entertain, or soothe.
Absolutely. They offer a constant source of learning, inspiration, and enjoyment. For English learners, listening to music and podcasts is an invaluable tool. It exposes you to natural pronunciation, different accents, slang, idioms, and conversational rhythm. You can learn passively just by listening, or actively by looking up new words and phrases.
That's so true. Find what you love, whether it's a genre of music that motivates you or a podcast that teaches you about something fascinating, and just immerse yourself in it. The more you listen, the more natural English will become. It's like having constant exposure to the language in a fun and engaging way.
Well, it's been wonderful exploring our playlists and podcast cues today, Lily.
It certainly has. And that's it for today's episode of English Echo Pod. We hope you enjoyed hearing about what's on our playlists and that it inspires you to explore new sounds.
And don't forget, if you like this episode, please subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, it helps us a lot, and share this podcast with your friends who are also learning English.
And we'd love to hear about what's on your playlist or in your podcast queue. Please leave a comment below and tell us, what's a song or podcast you'd recommend, and why do you love it? We can't wait to hear your recommendations and discover new favorites.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll be back with another episode soon. Bye for now.
See you next time.